Hey everyone, and welcome back. What if I told you that there might be a way to, revitalize aging brains?
Sounds pretty sci-fi, right?
Right. But stick with us, because we are going to be talking about some seriously groundbreaking research today, especially for those of you on the front lines, working with patients, dealing with cognitive decline.
Yeah, we're talking about mitochondria.
Oh, the powerhouses.
Those tiny powerhouses in our cells and their connection to aging in the brain.
Okay, so mitochondria, everyone kind of remembers that, right? From Bio 101, they're the energy factory.
Right.
Churning out ATP to keep our cells running, but
yeah, the brain needs a lot of energy.
it's a real energy hog.
Yeah.
But what's blowing my mind is how closely mitochondrial function might be tied to how much we actually use our brains.
So it all comes down to this concept of excitation transcription coupling, or ETC for short. You're probably already familiar with this idea.
Yeah.
That the activity of neurons can actually influence which genes get turned on or off in the nucleus of the cell.
Right.
So that's, like learning something new actually changes gene expression.
Totally.
But here's where things get really interesting. This new research from Lee and his colleagues reveals that there's a parallel process happening in the mitochondria themselves.
Whoa.
They call it mitochondrial excitation transcription coupling.
Okay, so there's a whole nother system of communication.
ETC mito, for short.
Happening within the mitochondria themselves.
Exactly.
I am intrigued.
So what they found is that when neurons are active, they trigger a specific influx of calcium ions into the mitochondria.
Okay.
And this sets off this whole cascade of events, activating certain enzymes and ultimately leading to increased transcription of mitochondrial genes.
So the mitochondria are getting a direct signal from active neurons to ramp up their energy production.
Yeah.
It's almost like a, hey, we need more power over here kind of message.
That's a great way to put it. And the genes that are getting boosted are specifically those related to oxidative phosphorylation, or OXPHOS, which is the process that actually generates ATP within the mitochondria.
Got it. Okay, so we've got this intricate communication pathway where neuronal activity is directly telling the mitochondria to crank up ATP production.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It is.
But I have a feeling this is where the aging piece comes in, right?
You're right on track. This is where it gets really relevant to your patients who are experiencing age-related cognitive decline.
Okay.
So the research shows that in aged mice, this activity-dependent mitochondrial calcium influx and the subsequent boost in gene expression is significantly reduced.
So as the brain ages, the mitochondria aren't getting the message to keep up with the energy demands.
Exactly, and that creates a mismatch between the energy needs of those active neurons and the ability of their mitochondria to meet those needs.
And that could have serious downstream effects on brain function, right?
Precisely. It can disrupt essential processes like synaptic plasticity, which is crucial for learning and memory. And homeostasis, which is all about maintaining a stable internal environment within the brain.
So this age-related decline in mitochondrial responsiveness could be a major factor contributing to cognitive decline in our patients.
Yeah, very well could be.
That's a pretty big deal for those of us on the front lines of healthcare.
Absolutely. And the implications go even further when we consider neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, where mitochondrial dysfunction is already recognized as a key player.
Right. Okay, so we've established that this ETC mito pathway is crucial for keeping our brains powered up as we age. But is there anything we can actually do about it?
Right.
Is there a way to intervene to somehow boost this pathway and protect against cognitive decline?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And this is where the research gets even more exciting. Lei and his colleagues focused on a specific protein involved in this ETC mito pathway called CR-MITO.
CR-MITO. Okay, that's a new one for me. What is so special about this protein?
Well, CR-MITO seems to be a master regulator of this whole process. Think of it like the conductor orchestrating the mitochondrial response to neuronal activity.
Okay.
And in their experiments, the researchers manipulated CR-MITO in a couple of very clever ways.
Okay, I'm listening. What did they do?
First, they inhibited CR-MITO in aged mice. Essentially, they took the conductor out of the equation, and guess what happened?
I'm guessing it wasn't good for the mice's brain power.
You got it. Inhibiting CR-MITO significantly impaired memory function in these mice.
So without CR-MITO doing its job, the mitochondria couldn't respond properly to the brain's energy demands and cognitive functions suffered?
Exactly.
But what about the opposite? What if they could somehow boost CR-MITO activity?
That's exactly what they did next. They expressed a constitutively active form of CRB-mito in these aged mice. Basically, they made the conductor permanently on.
Wow, so they supercharged the ETC-mito pathway. What were the results?
The results were truly remarkable. This manipulation actually restored activity-dependent mitochondrial gene expression, increased ATP levels, and incredibly improved memory performance in these aged mice.
Hold on, so just by tweaking this one protein, they were able to reverse some of the age-related mitochondrial decline and boost cognitive function.
It seems that way.
That's incredible.
It really is. And it opens up this whole new world of possibilities for therapeutic interventions. Imagine if we could develop targeted therapies that enhance CRB-mito activity or otherwise boost the ETC-mito pathway in aging brains.
It's like finding a hidden switch that can revitalize those aging powerhouses. This is a game changer for how we approach age-related cognitive decline and potentially even neurodegenerative diseases.
It certainly has the potential to be, and it underscores just how crucial it is for healthcare providers like yourselves to stay informed about these emerging discoveries. They could completely change the way we think about treating our patients in the very near future.
Absolutely. So if our listeners want to dive deeper into this research on ETC-mito and CRB-mito, where should they look?
Both these articles were recently published in Science. One is titled, Aged Neurons Don't Register Energy Need, and the other one is Boosting Neuronal Activity-Driven Mitochondrial DNA Transcription Improves Cognition in Aged Mice.
Great. Be sure to check those out. Disclaimer and bibliography in the description. So this has been an absolutely mind-blowing look at the connection between mitochondria, aging, and cognitive function. Yeah. But before we wrap up, I want to bring this back to our listeners who are working directly with patients. What are some key takeaways they should keep in mind?
I think the biggest takeaway here is the importance of mitochondrial health in cognitive function, especially as our patients age.
Yeah.
It's not just about overall energy production, but the dynamic responsiveness of mitochondria to the demands of our brain.
Right. So we need to be thinking about mitochondria as more than just static energy suppliers. They're actually key players in the brain's ability to adapt and function optimally.
Exactly, and this research suggests that supporting mitochondrial health could be a crucial part of addressing age-related cognitive decline.
So what are some practical things healthcare providers can do to support mitochondrial health in their patients?
Well, we're still in the early stages of research, and there's a lot more to learn about how this ETC-mito pathway works in humans. But there are some things we can recommend based on what we know about mitochondrial health in general.
Like what? Give some examples.
Well, lifestyle factors play a big role. So encouraging things like regular exercise, a balanced diet rich in antioxidants, and stress management techniques can all support mitochondrial function.
That makes sense. Those are all things that benefit overall health, but it's interesting to think about them specifically in terms of supporting those little powerhouses in our brains.
Absolutely, and as research progresses, we might see targeted interventions that specifically boost the ETC-mito pathway or enhance CRB-mito activity.
That's really exciting to think about. It's like a whole new frontier in addressing cognitive health. And it all starts with understanding this incredible connection between neuronal activity and mitochondrial function.
And it raises an important question for all of us to consider. Could simply boosting mental activity in aging by engaging this ETC-mito pathway be a way to naturally enhance mitochondrial function and cognitive health?
That's a fascinating thought. Almost like a use it or lose it principle for our mitochondria.
Right.
I love it. Well, we have certainly given our listeners a lot to ponder today. Any final words of wisdom before we sign off?
Just that this research is a powerful reminder that we're always learning new things about the brain and aging. Staying curious and informed about these breakthroughs is essential for providing the best possible care for our patients.
Couldn't agree more. A huge thank you to our expert for sharing their expertise with us today. For our listeners, be sure to check out those groundbreaking articles in Science. Aged neurons don't register energy need. And boosting neuronal activity-driven mitochondrial DNA transcription improves cognition in aged mice. Disclaimer and bibliography in the description. And tell us in the comments, what are your biggest takeaways from this mitochondrial deep dive? We'll see you next time.